Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Today I have the amazing Trudy Devlin here. And the reason Trudy is here is because I really wanted to learn how to make strawberry jam. And I've known Trudy for several years, ran into her and said, Trudy knows how to make strawberry jam. I had a hunch. So I asked her and she agreed to come in on television and show us all how to make it. So Trudy's actually going to run through the process, teaching me how to do it, and hopefully all of you. If any of you have questions, just ask them out here. If they're quiet, I will repeat them into the mic. That work? Good.
Okay. The first thing I do is make sure my jars are washed and the lids, and then I put them into cold water and bring the water to a boil and have them in it. I then measure the sugar, which Emily's going to do.
Wait, can you tell me first, why do we boil the jars?
For purification. Make sure they're good and hot, so the hot jam will go into them and gel well.
I was going to say, because we washed them pretty well beforehand.
That's fine.
Now I know why I have to do it. Okay.
You want clean jars, in other words.
You got, okay.
Okay.
I'll leave the jokes out.
So, all right. You're going to fix the sugar.
How many cups of sugar?
7.
Now, what if I go over? Is that a problem?
It will be a problem.
Okay, so exactly 7 cups of sugar.
According to the instructions, and I'm going to use Sure Gel today. You can also use Certo. I have just never used it. And so my favorite that I lean towards is the Sure Gel. And I use the cooked jam recipe, which is on one side. It has a number of recipes you can use, one of them being freezer jam, which I used to do when my kids were little. It's very easy and very, yeah. In here? No.
Oh.
Here.
This is why I have Trudy here, because I would make mistakes.
We all do.
It's only 4 cups.
We
use the bigger one with the strawberries.
This is the one I usually use for sugar, because I can get the exact 7 in here. But instead it has the strawberries in it.
Just so you know, we both washed our hands right before this. Clean jars and clean hands. Only 3 cups. Right?
Yeah. And you don't want all of these little clumps, because that adds to it. You're going to make sure there's no clumps in there.
There are clumps in there. Should I just plan on this?
Go ahead. No, measure. First I need to know whether there's 3 in there. Exactly 3, so go ahead.
That's how I do it. Perfect.
Okay. Now, we're going to put the...
Oh, wait. So before we got to this point with the strawberries, we did prepare some stuff, so you didn't have to watch us cut 5 cups of strawberries. So what you do, I've already cut the top off, but you cut the top off, and you're going to slice it down. You can't see that. And you're just going to do really tiny little pieces of it to make it easier. And we do a bunch, and then you use a potato masher and just mash it down, and then it becomes this very fine strawberry small pieces. Trudy and I both like having some strawberry pieces in the jam. I don't know how you guys feel. If you don't, crush it all out.
There are ways to deal with that if you don't want it. This is my favorite way of dealing with it.
So always strawberries first?
Strawberries first.
Okay.
How many cups of strawberries?
5
cups.
But it will tell you
Oh.
on the in your instructions. If you follow this exact, you shouldn't have a problem. Now, some of these recipes call for lemon juice. I've never used it. So,
Okay.
I'm going to put this on here and add my Sure Gel.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to just take this. And sometimes we add, you can add 1/2 teaspoon of butter or margarine.
Do you have to do that?
I don't. The reason you do it is to cut down on the foam that might come from the berries.
Okay,
I've never worried about that.
it's good. Because I forgot the butter. Okay.
We'll just have to wait for this to start to cook. And
Now, how long do you let that heat up before you start adding the sugar?
it needs to boil for 1 minute.
Okay, so just the strawberries and the sugar
Exactly
gel
1 minute.
boil for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I like directions like that. They're simple and clear, to the point.
Anybody have any questions? Because this is going to take a few minutes.
Now you measured the 5 cups of berries that were crushed, right?
Right.
Correct. So the question was, do you measure the 5 cups of crushed berries? Yes, you do that first. I actually asked that when preparing because I would have just cut up 5 cups and called it good. It wouldn't have been good. So, good question. Yes, Marilyn.
How much jam would you get from the 5 cups of berries?
How much
6.
jam would you get from the 5 cups of berries?
6, 7, sometimes 8.
8 ounces? 8 ounces?
8 jars, 8
It-
of this size.
I think it's a 12-ounce jar. Is this 12 ounce?
No,
Or 8 ounce?
This is more, it's 4 or 6, isn't
Is
it?
it?
Maybe 6 ounces.
Yeah, that's a small. And sometimes I use one of these at the end to finish up what's there. Or you can use all these if you want to, if you're giving a lot of gifts away or just want that.
And if you're making gifts, it depends how much you like the person.
You can get the jars in the hardware store. Any grocery store should carry them. Brown's carries them in East Long Meadow. Okay. Armada.
You can also get them at AC Moore, Michael's. Sometimes they have some different looking bottles, which is what I found yesterday. But we thought we'd stick with the routine stuff, the good ones, the trusted brand.
I don't use traditional jars all the time. Now here's one that came in, and I'm going to use that. We don't need traditional. I don't use them. If you have a jelly jar that's small, about the same size, I use that.
I liked the pretty jar, so I asked for her to let me use it. Yes, absolutely. Of course not. We're making it for the center. People can use it here.
Can you time this for a minute, please? Do you have a watch?
No.
No. Okay, I'll just watch here.
No, here. 1 minute, exactly.
1 minute. These berries are really a little tiny bit bigger than I would have them because they weren't the fresh berries. I find the native berries are much easier to work with.
Got it timing.
I sometimes put a little bit of balsamic vinegar in my strawberries when I make, not the jam, just if I'm making shortcake. I wonder if you would put balsamic vinegar in that. Would it ruin it?
Why
What?
do you use that?
That's
Gives it a nice flavor. It brings out the flavor.
so. She stated that she uses balsamic vinegar when she. What is it that you make?
Making shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake.
Right, or fresh berries.
What does it do to the flavor?
It gives it a nice taste to it.
A nice taste.
Yes, it brings it out.
Excellent.
Oh, maybe a half a teaspoon per quart, yeah.
Just a half teaspoon
But I
per
don't
quart.
know if it would mess up the,
All right, we're coming up on a minute here. I wouldn't have thought to do that, so that's good to know.
I don't know if it would mess up the jam.
Okay. Here's a minute.
Okay.
Right, that's an acid.
Okay, so you guys can't see this, but it definitely looks pretty, quite honestly. It's definitely boiling, starting to boil a little bit. Is that boiling enough? Does it all need
It
to be
is.
tons of bubbles, a few bubbles?
No, I use just a little
Sorry.
bit, and then when the minute is up, I pour in the sugar. So let's pour in the
Okay. All right.
And pour it
Okay.
all in at once.
All at once?
Yep.
What if I just poured some in it
No,
and did it gradually?
no.
Will that mess it
well,
up?
I don't know. Never tried it that way.
Okay. So do what Trudy says. All at once. Now, how long will it have to stay like this
I have
when
to,
you're mixing it?
the mixing, you need to mix it all in, and then you need to boil it, bring it to a boil again. Stir in
1
your
minute.
sugar another minute.
Okay.
But it has to come to the full boil.
And everything on these directions says exactly 1 minute, exactly 7 cups, exactly 5 cups. So, key phrase exactly.
Yes, that is important, exactly. 'Cause I've made errors in years before. It's pretty sad.
I attempted making peach jam once. I was told it was easy. Well, I let it sit too long. It burned. Smelled great in the beginning, not after. So, exact is the way to go. Yes, Marilyn.
If you didn't have a masher, could you pulse the berries like in a blender?
Probably.
So
Sure.
the question was, if you don't have a potato masher, could you put it in a blender and pulse? And you think yes?
I think so. I don't see why not. I don't know what the difference would be. Pardon?
You just get it mashed.
Yeah, it would do the same thing, I think, and the juice. You wouldn't lose anything, so why not?
Whatever makes life easier.
Tell me when to start the minute, and I will.
Well, it hasn't come
Right.
to a full boil yet.
How's our other pot doing?
That's
Pretty
done.
good.
That's
It's
ready.
done?
That's ready. So we did bring the jars to a boil, and the lids are in there. And I may need to put a few more in. I put 6 or 7 in there.
Okay.
Now, sometimes I've had some failures. This is really good on vanilla ice cream.
What other things do people put? You mean if you mess it up?
If I have a failure of the jam,
Okay.
yes.
Anything else we can do with it if we fail with it?
I don't know.
Thoughts?
Would it fail?
Put it on pancakes,
Yes, it would be good.
which
Yes.
would have worked well at our pancake breakfast this morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Why did it fail? Did you ever figure out what you did?
I cooked it one time. I overcooked. Another time I had too much sugar.
So again, exactly 7 cups. I'm a little nervous that I had some clumps in there, so
Oh, I think
we may be going to get ice cream and everyone will be happy.
you need to be optimistic.
I'm always optimistic. So, would you follow a similar recipe to make, say, raspberry jam?
Everything is right here, and yes.
Okay.
Yep. The directions for everything that you need comes on these printouts. For jelly, freezer jam, cooked jams.
Okay.
And the same with the Cerdo. The Cerdo has a listing of exactly how you would do it.
And what I'll do with this recipe after is I'll copy it and I will put it out there for people to take here, but I'll also put it on our Facebook site. If anyone wants to check that out at Longmeadow Adult Center. I may be pushing our Facebook page, but so really, this isn't a difficult thing to do. It's just kind of time consuming and you have to pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
Just hard for me if anyone knows me. But Marilyn, what's your question?
Oh, how long, once you put it in the jars, does it take to set?
That's a great question. The question was, how long after you put it in the jars does it take to set?
I generally leave it overnight, tipped upside down, because then the air gets out of it that might have been caught there between the lid and the jam.
Okay. So,
I generally find it takes an overnight.
so if you come back tomorrow, we can try it out.
It's
can-
getting thicker. but it still hasn't boiled, so.
I have another one.
Yes.
They don't recommend using paraffin anymore. In the old days, we used to use paraffin.
I don't know if they. I think some people still use paraffin. Marilyn asked if they still recommend using paraffin because years ago, I guess they did, but we didn't use it this time.
I haven't
And-
used it for years.
Probably much easier this way.
Well, if your jars are good and hot and your lids are hot when you will put them on, I don't see a need for the paraffin. I think it was a preservative at the time, but I don't know.
That was going to be my question. What is paraffin used for?
It was a sealer.
I'm not even sure what it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hot
well, that's what I
wax.
thought, but I wouldn't think you'd use that with it. So,
Is it recommended in recipes from Surgeon or whatever you're using?
this,
The paraffin or not? It's very
no,
good.
no, it's not. So it was asked if paraffin is recommended with the Sure Gel directions, and it is not. We are following these to a T.
And the tops of the jars, once you get them sealed up and leave them at room temperature, the tops you'll hear pop, and then they're ready. You'll know that they've sealed well. And it does say here to keep them at room temperature for 24 hours.
So should we put them in the refrigerator or not?
Room temperature.
Leave them alone. Okay. But after you open them, always put them in the refrigerator. That smells really good, Trudy.
Looks really good too.
It does look really good. I actually kind of wanted to mess it up for the ice cream.
Pot over just a little bit, it's not even, the other way,
This way?
a little more.
That way?
No, now it's too far the other way. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Do you want
Thanks.
a hot mitt?
Not so far.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? You're thinking. I'm thinking too of what to ask, but I like to just watch.
This
So
is taking a little longer, I think, on the hot plate.
right, our hot plates won't be as fast as if you use your regular stove top, especially if you have gas or honestly just a bigger top. But they work pretty well for our little kitchenette here.
Yeah, they do very well.
We have a plan to make this as a group in August. Right, Kathy? Is it August for the peaches? Or is it September? Yes, end of September. We would like to go peach picking and bring people there and then come in and make jams. So it can be a hands-on experience then, now that we've all learned how to do it. I'm never really sure what to do in the meantime when I'm just watching. Yes.
Now, Trudy is stirring all the time. You do that.
That's what they recommend.
So it won't stick.
Yeah, it's a good arm exercise.
I should say.
I'm getting off easily here. I get to just stand here holding the mic. I can switch with you though if you'd like.
Well, so far I'm fine, thanks.
It's like watching water boil. It's a good time. Have any of you made jam in the past? Okay, the majority of you then. What kind do you guys make? Do you have like a homemade recipe or do you use a recipe such as this? Homemade? You just have it all in your memory?
I haven't at home.
Right.
It doesn't vary much from that though.
No? They're all typically the same? Okay. That's good to know. I was told that apple jam is excellent, and I should try making that. Maybe in the fall. Trudy, is there anything I can do in the meantime to help?
You can hurry this along.
I would love to do that for you.
I don't know how much more time we have.
Do I need to, should I start pulling out the bottles? Or really just
Well, it
leave them
really
in there
needs
until
to
then?
this really needs to come to a boil before we can really start
Okay.
pouring this in, ladling it in. be too much longer.
What happens if we stop stirring and we walk away for a while?
That I don't know, and today I don't want to find out.
Well, I will tell you what happens because that's how I messed mine up. It burns. Burns on the bottom. This is why I wanted you to show me, because I knew you wouldn't let me do that. All of the ingredients in there are pretty delicate, and the flour will burn on the bottom, obviously where it's the hottest. The sugar, sure. What did I say? The flour, sure. We did not put any flour in there.
Emily, do you have a lot of experience in the kitchen?
None.
I was just beginning, I was like, two questions.
Oh, the question was, Emily, myself, do I have a lot of experience in the kitchen? I said none. It's actually kind of a lie. Any. No, that is a lie. I went through a phase several years of my life that I was cooking a lot and trying all different recipes and having a lot of fun with it until one day I decided to cook meals for the week, and I had 3 different meals going at the same time. Needless to say, none of them came out correctly, and they tasted pretty badly. So now I just do one at a time and the things that I like to make the most. I make a pretty mean meatloaf, actually. I do. I didn't like meatloaf until I found this recipe, and I was actually thinking that I might have to make it in here for a demonstration. It's so easy to make and delicious.
Do you use the oatmeal for the meatloaf, or you have something?
So, well, now we're going on to my meatloaf recipe. I was asked if I use oatmeal for my meatloaf recipe. I do not. I use saltine crackers.
I use shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat. I haven't tried those. So I think the saltines kind of soak up some of the liquid in it and make it very moist. So it's people who don't like meatloaf tend to like this meatloaf, and I think because it doesn't dry out very easily. So I'll make it sometime.
How do you know if it's done?
How do we know if it's done?
Well, first it has to come to a boil. Then you boil it for 1 minute. Then it's done.
So after it boils for 1 minute,
Yep,
Boom.
exactly 1 minute. You take it off
and then we start pouring it
into the
into
jars.
the jars. Okay.
And what do you have the burner on, Miss Trudy? Do you have a?
What-
This is on high.
Yeah.
I use high when I make it at home. 9, 10.
Fastest way to make it boil. And with a lid. A lid may have helped us.
And
Well, we
you
can't
have
stir
to
with a lid.
be careful because it will spatter. That's why I love this pan. This is a pan I brought from home. And the spattering still takes place, but it's not as bad.
And you can see it. It's spattering inside much more than... It's not on you yet. Luckily.
This doesn't want to boil. It's as high as it will go.
So what if we were to get impatient and say it's been on there long enough?
You might have a failure.
We may have ice cream parties.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what everybody wants to do.
Oh no, we'll let it go. I'm just asking for people who may be impatient. Not saying myself. Maybe saying myself, but
There is saying patience is a virtue that few desire, or few have and many desire.
I think there is a saying that says that patience is a virtue that few have. Wait, what is it? Many desire and few have?
Few have and many desire.
Few have and many desire.
Just like a watch, hot never boils.
Mm-hmm. Hence why I walked away from my peach jam. How you doing with stirring the pot there, Trudy?
I'm doing well. Really am. Thank you.
Okay. It does really look delicious, though. I wish we could show that, but
Well, I could come up and look carefully, but I don't know whether you want to do that or not.
Do you feel it thickening?
Pardon?
Do you feel it thickening?
Yes, I can feel it thickening. It just
That's-
hasn't come to the boil. Yeah.
Maybe you're stirring it so much that we can't see the bubbles.
No.
I love that all of you said no.
Yeah.
Lesson learned, Emily Burns jam. Not after this. I will be patient.
Emily, have you ever canned anything?
I have never canned anything. No. Growing up, we had a pear tree in the backyard. It's the only one in the neighborhood, and so my parents would can. They would make pear butter and pear jam, and they would do things. But of course, my sister and I didn't like pears, so we didn't eat it. So we just had lots of jam that we wouldn't eat. I don't know what they did with it after, though. I'll have to go home and ask. I'll call my mom after this. It's really too bad now because I like pears now. So it probably would have been a good, I know, it would have been a good thing to know. I can tell you a random interesting fact about pears, though, if you want to hear that. Like, nobody else out there wants to, but here goes. Pears, when they start to rot, when they fall, bees are attracted to them because they're intoxicating. It's like alcohol, the juice. So the bees, they can't fly, and you can knock them off the pear, and they literally stumble and kind of move around, zigzagging around the yard. It was fun to watch. Well, as you can tell with my impatience, I had to be very busy as a child, and I would play with them, and they didn't sting me when they were like that. So if you mess with them enough, though, they do sting you. So it's just one of those interesting things I learned. It definitely is starting to look, I know, more together. Like it has a little is that foam on the
Yeah.
top?
Mhm.
So it's starting to foam. So it must be heating up at least.
It's hot. It's good and hot. Just isn't boiling.
It doesn't like you, Trudy.
I know. Oh well.
Would you say that's the average time that you're doing it right now, or does it?
No, this feels
It's-
longer. Yeah.
Okay.
What is the difference of the,
I think it's the heat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the question was asked, is this the normal time that it happens, or does it tend to be faster when it's on a regular stovetop? And as Trudy said, it does. We think it's this cooktop here that's making it much slower than normal. But in the end, we'll have delicious jam, right?
Or you'll have stuff for ice cream.
So even Trudy's getting impatient. It's not just me. In the meantime, does anyone have any questions? Other foods or recommendations, possibly, of things that you would like to see here at our cooking demonstrations, our cook-offs? Pickles. Like how to make pickles? Easy pickles. Okay. So one recommendation was how to pickle cucumbers, then ultimately. How to make the pickles. We could look into that. I could do a recipe on how to make fried pickles. Oh, don't knock it till you try it. They're delicious. I thought it would be foul the first time I had it. Amazing. They really are amazing. Yeah. I'm going to guess restaurants use some type of different type of fryer, maybe. But, yep, you just do it on the pan, and it's very simple. Much faster than this.
So you don't make them, you just fry them.
Yeah, I buy the pickles and then fry them. Kathy, I do like that you're laughing at me for this, but they really are good.
I
Nothing.
don't know whether this is going to boil.
Well, maybe you could do one jar.
That's what I was just thinking,
Okay.
Kathy.
Here, I'll pull
Yeah.
it out.
Let's leave this on here.
Okay.
Wait a
I'll pull
minute,
the jar out.
Take this out.
Want to use a smaller jar first?
No, yeah, anything's fine.
You good over there?
Yeah.
It's hot. I don't want to burn you.
You're not good to-
just use a regular ladle to
Yep.
scoop it out.
Feels kind of juicy too, so I really think it needs the boiling. But this is what I do. I love this size ladle. And I just fill it right to the top.
Oh, that's perfectly done.
Yep. And then I take, there are caps, the lids are in there. So, just put it right on it.
Okay. Don't touch that yet.
All right.
Should see me pull a lobster out of a pot. Drop those on the floor too. All right. How hot is it?
It's hot, but it's okay.
Got it?
Yep.
All right. Here, we have a.
No, I'm fine. There. Now that's not quite tight. I wait a few minutes till the lid cools off just a little bit. Then I tighten it, and then I'll turn them upside down for I don't know how many hours. And then upright again, and they'll start to pop as they seal.
One small thing I'll add for the kitchen is we're using, you can use any kind of tong, but the kind that we have has, what is this, rubber?
It's
Silicone.
Silicone.
So we grab the ones with the silicone because it really grabs it. I had some plastic ones first, slipped right out, metal slips out, silicone, wonderful. Love
It's
it.
starting to boil.
All right, so it's starting to boil, but now you guys have seen how we do it. So wait for it to boil. Boil it for a minute, call it good, pour it in there, and there you go. Thank you guys for watching our jam making today. Watching the jam boil.